Hi folks, welcome back to another adventure. This time we're going to try something new and we're going to have a wee look at Gaslands Refueled by Osprey Games. This one's a bit of a group effort with Drew over at Ninetail Hobbies, Alex at the Hobby Grotto, Dave from Table Ready Gaming. Jamie from Miniocalypse is also going to be doing a wee team over on his Twitch channel. Links to the guys are down below in the description, so go take a look, but wait till you finish this one, eh? So here are the team members that I did not steal from my son's toy box. We have Thomas the Tank Engine, a Volkswagen Golf GTI, a Honda CR-V. I also have a bunch of random bits from the Bitbox, and some Milliput. First things first, I had a little squig face that looked like it would fit quite nicely to cover Thomas's overly cheerful smile. So I mixed up some Milliput to cover the face, and then squished the squig face over the top. I used my wee silicone doofer to smooth the transition and even things out a little. Then I used a paper clip to add a little more texture and some more interesting details. It looks ready for battle, eh? I decided they needed a little spotlight, so I snipped a wee bumpy bit off and filed it flat for a better fit. I then discovered that a pin vise is not suited to drilling through this, so I just super glued it instead of pinning. Next up, I found this flamethrower and whatever that other bit is, but it looked like a mountain arm, so I drilled both pieces and pinned them together to make them a wee bit more secure. Then it was time to glue it to the top of Thomas's cab as a mounted turret. Looking deadly. I didn't like the look of the clips on the front and the back, so I ripped them off and replaced the one on the front with some awesome spikes. These were stuck on with a bit of Milliput and super glue. Then I forgot to turn the camera on while I glued these badass little rocket launchers to each side. You can never have enough firepower, eh? Figured Thomas might need some armour plating if he's going to be racing, so I picked out all these little corner pieces, which I think were from a Death Guard Rhino kit, and along with a couple of little armour plates and more spikes. I had this little orc badge lying about, so that got glued to Thomas's arse. I've got no idea what these little square panels are from, but I quite like the pattern on them, so they also got glued on. I then found a little ammo pouch and a bedroll to add to the side, just in case a race goes overnight. You never know. He's starting to look like a killing machine now. The back looked a little bit weird without the clip, so I grabbed this giant meat hook and glued that into the hole. And there we have my first Gaslands vehicle. The other cars were done pretty much the same, so I won't bother showing you them right now, so let's get priming. I primed these with the airbrush and some Vallejo black primer, and then this happened. Oh Jesus. Shut myself. And that fright made me forget again to turn the camera on while I gave all three a base coat of McCrag blue. I painted all the bumpers with a couple of thin coats of Vallejo red. Then I coated all the guns and armour plates with some Vallejo gunmetal. And dropped one, like an idiot. With those layers dry, everything got a nice heavy coat of Nuln oil. Not worrying about pulling or streaking, because we want these to look a bit messy. I made a mistake and used Rhinox hide to sponge on some damage. I should have used black. I don't know what I was thinking choosing brown. To make up for that, I took some Vallejo gunmetal and went to town, slapping this all over the place and getting these guys nice and dinged up. Next up was a little dry brush of silver over all the armour plates. Check how sexy that pink brush is. To deal with Thomas's face, I gave him a base coat of Rakarth flesh. Then I used some Xandri dust to base coat the teeth. While that was drying, I moved on to cover the leather with some Rhinox hide, and broke out the Flash Gets Yellow to coat all the cables and various buttons around the vehicles. I also remembered that I hadn't painted the skulls, so I coated these with some Xandri dust. All the flesh, teeth, skulls and cables got a liberal coat of Rickland Flesh Shade. Then I decided to dab this around the armour plates for a nice cheap and easy rusty look to the metal. I highlighted the teeth with a little bit of a shanty bone. Then I dabbed the eyes with a teeny bit of Flashgate yellow. To highlight the face, I used pallid witch flesh and just painted lots of thin lines, which gave a slight sense of texture. But this felt a little bit too strong, so I used a light glaze of the flesh shade and just pulled it back slightly. The pouches felt like they were missing something, like detail, so I painted the straps with a wee bit of Xandri dust. Then it was time to give the wheels a little bit of attention with some silver wheel trims. And the grille on the Golf got painted black. It just felt right. To bring a little bit more life to the cars, I painted the headlights and the spotlights with some white, before I dropped in a little yellow contrast paint. I then spent a good half hour peeling off the masking fluid I put on way back at the beginning while my camera was turned off. This stuff is not easy to peel after a few weeks of just sitting. The windows looked a bit too clean and tidy, so I took my pin vise and drilled in some bullet holes. The only thing left now was to add a little bit of gore. Some blood for the blood god. Or blood for the Martian gods? With that little touch, we are done. This was my first real custom kit bash, and I had a blast making these bad boys. If you want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, or if you really want to show your appreciation, I do like whiskey. And don't forget to check out Ninetail Hobbies, The Hobby Grotto, Table Ready Gaming, and jump on over to Twitch and see Mini Ocalypse paint his team over the month.